Starting now. Thank you everyone for joining us, and we're thrilled to be with you today to present Taking Care of Me, How to Handle the 6 Ways. Title sounds intriguing, eh? We will talk more about the ways later in the workshop. The MFRC has just begun to offer workshops virtually, and we value and look forward to your feedback on what works and what you might recommend for next time. Today we'll be providing you with some unique ways to think about self-care practices. Some of the research and best practices we have integrated in this workshop include the Road to Mental Readiness, mindfulness.org, and the University of Calgary Self-Care Starter Kit. After the workshop, we will send you an email with a PowerPoint presentation, handouts, and links to any resources we reference, and some self-care tools and strategies to use. So you don't have to worry about writing things down and can focus on the presentation. You will receive all the info you want to reference after. We encourage everyone participating in this workshop today to take the material being presented and adapt it to their own lives and needs. Now that we've discussed the logistics, let's take a minute to put a face to the voices you'll be hearing over the next hour. I'm Elizabeth Thomas, and I'm a family well-being counselor with the Mental Health and Wellbeing team. I've been supporting individuals and families for many years. I come from a military family and have been with the MFRC for over 11 years. In addition to absolutely enjoying facilitating programs, I provide short-term support to individuals, families, and couples, and I connect people to resources and referrals.
Hi everyone, I'm Kara McNeil, and I'm the Director of Evaluation and Learning. I've been supporting military families at the Resource Center for over 17 years. I am passionate about supporting families by providing information and resources related to deployment, mental health, and parenting. We are super excited to be delivering this workshop virtually to military families. And behind the scenes...
So my name is Margaret McKenzie, and I'm coming to you to help out with behind the scenes from Germany. When we look at all the years of supporting families, that's 38, and I'm a military spouse with 26 years of experience working with MFRCs. So we certainly have a lot of information and wisdom to share with you. And I'm so happy that you've come to this session, especially if you're so busy, because that's the most important time for you to really start taking care of yourself. So you've done the great step by coming here, and really enjoy all the mindfulness exercises that Elizabeth and Kara have for you. Enjoy the show.
The fact that you have joined this session shows that you are interested in making you a priority. At the MFRC, we also believe that everyone has strengths that you may or may not be aware of. You are enough. You know yourself best and what is best for you. What is best for you may be different for someone else. Self-care is a lifelong process that involves trial and error. Even if your self-care plan does not go as you had planned, tomorrow's a new day. Be gentle and compassionate with yourself. Now we're ready to get started. Type "It's all about me" in the chat bar to let us know that you're ready to go. Hey, Brittany's ready. Aaron. Jillian. Melanie.
You're all finding the chat bar, and please feel free to use it during the presentation. It is all about me. Woohoo!
Way to go.
Brittany, don't forget to write that in if you get a chance.
Maybe texting takes a while, Brittany. Oh, there you are. Yay. So we're ready. And it is about you. And we know you're in the right place if you want to learn more about self-care, discuss some of the challenges to self-care, enhance your strategies to make self-care part of everyday life. If You want to start a self-care plan and enhance how you bounce back when life gets demanding. You're in the right place if you want to challenge yourself by staying present to the experience of focusing and planning just for you. If you have specific questions about self-care for yourself or others, we are happy to discuss individually at a later time, either virtually or in person. Today's session is meant to be a starting point for you, an appetizer if you like. We will introduce you to things that you can develop further on your own. If you're feeling this is the right place for you, find the green check mark on the menu bar at the bottom of the participant panel. Click to give us a yes, and if you're in the right place, and then click it again and it'll disappear. Ah, Bailey's ready.
And Brittany, just put a yes in that. There you go. You got it.
Way to go.
There's always more than one way to use the virtual tools.
So here's our roadmap for this session. Shortly, we're going to hear from you with an activity called This or That. Then we're going to explore areas of self-care like mindfulness and a check-in tool called the Mental Health Continuum. Next, we're going to hear from you on what self-care means to you and then share our definition. We will reflect on our current coping skills and identify our self-care needs. We will discuss resiliency and the seventh wave, what self-care we need daily, and what self-care do we need in extremely stressful times. Part of this exploration will also have us identifying what barriers exist to self-care and how we might be able to manage them. We will explore some self-care ideas and help you to begin to see how you can map out your self-care plan. As we get closer to the end of our workshop, we will look at the resources that can support you in your plan. After all your hard work, we'll take some time to do a breathing practice. And we'll wrap up with self-talk, checkout, and take your questions and comments that you may want to share. At the end, you will be asked to take a short survey to let us know how we did so we can continue to improve and enrich the programs we offer. Let's take some time to get to know each other now and explore where you tend to put your focus.
Okay, so we're going to play a game called This or That. Would you rather see the future like a fortune teller or get in a time machine and change the past, and why? So take a few moments to think about which option and why you chose it. So past, future. So on the top left-hand side of your screen, you will see an arrow icon. That is your pointer. Click on the pointer icon and place the pointer on your selection, past or future. If you don't have access to an arrow, just use the chat box, past or future. Okay. Some looking at the future, Elizabeth past. Top left corner of your pointer. Future, Brittany. Quite a few futures tonight. So thanks for your votes. So we're definitely more in the future. So now we can check in with the why of your choice. So when I call on your name, unmute your microphone by clicking on the microphone icon by your name, then briefly share with the group why you made that choice. So Bailey, can we start with you? Past or future?
Future.
Okay, and why?
I'm pretty content with my past. Yeah, I think it's brought me where I am, and I wouldn't change anything.
Excellent. Okay. So, but you're intrigued by the future.
Yeah.
Fair. Excellent. Thanks. Brittany, past or future?
Future.
Future, and why?
My past has brought me where I am now, and it's going to stay that way.
Okay, very good. So, again, the intriguing part of the future. Excellent. Erin, you chose the future. Why? Oh, right, Erin, the future. And you were having problems with your microphone, I think. So you can use the chat box if you like, and you can put your reason in there. We're waiting for that. Jillian, you chose the future as well. Why the future?
I'm a planner, So
Okay.
you can't look to the past if you're a planner. Well, you can look for your mistakes and choose from that. But I live my life by planning what's going to happen next.
And Aaron, that makes total sense. And Aaron in the chat box was able to add, I think because the military lifestyle is so uncertain that it would be nice to see where the future will bring us. Isn't that the truth? Absolutely. So thanks for, did I get everyone? I think so. Have a chance to be able to share. Excellent. So thanks for playing this or that, everyone. There really is no right or wrong answer to that question, even though we do not have the ability to see the future or change the past. Notice where you spend your time focusing. In the days ahead, take note of whether your focus is directed to the future or changing to the past. Putting your attention on the present is connected to your mental well-being. Has anyone heard of mindfulness? Give me a green check for yes or a red X for no. So mindfulness, have you heard of it before? Okay, definitely some people have heard of mindfulness before. So you can uncheck. Excellent. So mindfulness is when you focus on your thinking.
Daily, she says.
Oh, yes. So mindfulness is when you focus on your thinking and attention. Right now, you're practicing mindfulness when you focus your attention on this workshop.
It's nice to know that mindfulness is not going to be new to everyone, but mindfulness is a form of focused attention, of being aware in the current moment to the thoughts, emotions, and sensations you are experiencing without evaluating or judging if they're good or bad, but just noticing. Mindfulness is not about getting rid of thoughts or emptying our minds as some other meditative practices encourage you to do. Mindfulness is about awareness. Typically, when we take notice of our thoughts, we tend to place judgment, and this can impact our self-talk. By just noticing what we are thinking about, what emotions we may be feeling, what sensations we are experiencing in our body, can reveal where we need to focus our attention. By not judging and just noticing what you are experiencing is having self-compassion. Mindfulness can make an impact on our well-being and resilience. Life does happen in the here and now. Stress, anxiety, and depression are fueled by dwelling on past and future. Paying attention to your experiences can change them. Mindfulness practices can help with greater mind-body awareness and can help you turn toward challenging experiences rather than turning away or avoiding them. Your thoughts, feelings, and emotions are all a part of you. You can't stop the waves, but you can learn to surf. At the end of the workshop, we will highlight some mindfulness practices to try out and email you information on places where you can join a group at no cost. And those will be in HRM in the Halifax area. So for our friends that are all around in New Brunswick, you might look into some areas for mindfulness groups to join. The mental health continuum model is another way to think about our well-being. Is anyone familiar with this model or seen it before? Give me a green check for yes or a red X for no. So Jillian has, Aaron has not, Bailey hasn't, Brittany has.
This is one of my favorite pictures. I think anybody who hasn't seen it before is going to learn a lot from this one.
So we have folks here who have seen it before and others who haven't. So it's always good to make sure that those who haven't get a chance to be introduced to it. It's a great way to think about our mental health. So for those who've had it, been exposed to the mental health continuum before, then just consider it reinforcement. The continuum is intended to be a tool to better understand mental health and to identify where you are at any given time. We like to think about mental health as a color-coded continuum, like you see in the picture here. Being green or healthy means you're calm and ready to go. A person will not be green all the time, and you will range into the yellow as you deal with normal stressors. Being in the yellow is normal, but staying in the yellow for prolonged periods of time can affect our physical, mental, and spiritual health, and can be a factor for getting into the orange. Using strategies to get back to the green is a great way to maintain your wellness. If you find yourself in the orange or red, you may need to reach out for support to get back to the green. The term mental health is used a lot, and we all perhaps have a different idea of what it means. When we refer to mental health, we are using the definition, mental health is how we think, feel, and act as we cope with life. Our mental health helps determine how we handle stress, relate to others, and make choices. The mental health continuum is a way to check in with yourself so you can focus on what you need in the present. What does your green look like? What does it look like when you are in the yellow? Please give me a green check when you're willing to share. Anybody willing to share what your green or what your yellow looks like? Ah, Jillian. So Jillian, if you could unmute your mic.
Okay, green is the time when there's all the deadlines are met, there's nothing pressing that has to be done, and you're just doing the normal everyday things, and things are running fairly smoothly.
Right.
I end up in the yellow when I procrastinate.
Right. So when you're able to keep up the routines, keep everyone in the right place at the right time, and things are going well. Yeah. But when you procrastinate is when you're your toes dipping in the yellow, eh?
Yes.
Well, thank you for sharing, Jillian. And I see Brittany is willing to share. So Brittany, you're going to use the text box. So if you'd like to share, that would be awesome. What does your green look like and what does your yellow look like? And we'll give you a chance to type that out.
Brittany, I think your voice is working. Is that correct? If you unmute your microphone, you could speak.
Oh, great. Thanks, Margaret. Okay. Green is when everything is going smoothly and everyone is where they're supposed to be. Sounds familiar, eh? Hey, Jillian? Yeah. And, you know, that sense of order and that sense of keeping things on track does really, it does feel good. But sometimes it's not always what's happening for us, is it? And that we might just experience dipping into the yellow. Well, thank you both for sharing. The ability to move back to green involves resiliency, or the ability to bounce back and manage life's challenges and changes. Self-care contributes to getting to green. What are we talking about when we say self-care? We hear a lot about the phrases self-care, taking care of you. And self-care can mean many things to many people, so let's share your ideas about what your self-care means to you. What is your ideal self-care? Take a few moments to think about it, and then share your thoughts on the whiteboard. Take a look at the top left-hand side of your screen. There will be a toolbar, and in this toolbar you will notice the letter T. That is the text tool. Click on the text tool and then click in the box beside your name to put your response. For everyone to see what you wrote, you need to click away from the word when you're done typing. If you come to the end of a line, press Enter. And for those who can't use the text tool, then we can use the chat box.
One way to make this easier too is if you take your pointer and grab a row, that way we know who's got each row. Pointer is the big arrow on the top left-hand side. There you go. Jillian's claimed a row. Super. Use your pointer or the chat. What does self-care mean to you? Erin, are you able to find your pointer on the top left-hand side? There you go. And if you just want to use the T, the text tool, to write in what does self-care mean to you. Bailey, are you able to use your pointer? Is that yours in the blue? Perfect. Great.
So we've got Jillian, we've got Erin, we've got Bailey, we've got Kara, and we've got Brittany. Now, is that everybody? It's everybody. It's now time to share. Please give me a green check when you're ready to share. When you're ready to share, just Bailey, would you like to unmute your mic and share what self-care means to you?
Sure. So I am the type of person who always gives too much of myself, if that's possible. So I guess for me, we also have a 16-month-old and a 4-year-old. So for me, the biggest thing is asking for someone to help me with them so that I can just step back and look after myself. That's huge. It means stepping out of my comfort zone. So, yeah.
It is difficult to ask for help. And sometimes you get the message that everybody has to do it on their own, right?
Yep. And it's hard to accept defeat, I guess, and step back and realize that I actually do need that time for myself.
Right, because you are a priority.
Yeah. If I'm not healthy, then I can't give as much of myself.
Thank you for sharing, Bailey.
No problem.
And you can just uncheck your, okay. Anybody else would like to share? You just give me a green check. Jillian.
Okay, I found that my kids are older, and through the years, the best way to do it for me has always been that I'm one of these list people. I get great satisfaction crossing things off my list. But I also find if I keep a list, one of the lists I call me, so I can write down the things that I have to do that are important for me, so that I like, oh yeah, I can think I need to do that. I've got, yes, the washroom is cleaned, but you know, I need to go for a walk, or I need to make sure, well, like I said, I knit. I find, okay, if I carve time out to knit for half an hour a day, I always seem to be in a more positive frame of mind, because I have that time for me. So that's what's worked.
It's a balance, isn't it? And like
it is very much a balance.
Yeah, absolutely. And you are really kind of, you know, there's things to do, but you're on the list too. But it's a me list. Excellent.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I can see Brittany is saying that self-care means when I maintain my own goals and dreams, and also maintain my own mental and physical health. That's what Brittany does. So thank you for sharing that. And anybody else? If not, then we'll just read the rest. And so for Kara, you take time for yourself and you go to the gym. Good for you. And for Erin, being relaxed and focusing on a positive mindset really kind of helps. Is self-care for you. And a positive outlook is not necessarily easy all the time, so it's a great goal to have. Thank you, everybody, for sharing what self-care means to you. Our hunch is correct, though. Self-care does mean different things for each person, and that is normal. Let's take a look at the definition of the word care. The title of this workshop is Taking Care of Me. But what is meant by the word care? Can we call on volunteers to read the definitions on the slide? Please select the hand icon if you'd like to read. So if anyone has got a burning desire to read, just raise your hand. Brittany, please.
Care is providing care, the work that providing the treatment for, attending to someone or something, an activity involved in maintaining something in good working order, maintenance at a regularly scheduled time.
Would you like to read the next one?
Care, to look after, mind, watch, protect, pretend, nurse, or manage.
Thank you. Notice the word care is both a noun and a verb. So it's something you do and something you describe. Care is an activity that keeps you in good working order and done at regularly scheduled times. That is far from a luxury. It is one of the most important tools in life. Our children or younger members of our families are watching what we do, so let's teach them well. Now we have a working definition and your ideas about self-care. Now let's take some time to reflect on our coping skills right now. Examining our current coping skills is an important first step in developing a self-care plan. How do you typically deal with life's demands? Can you identify when you need to take a break? When you're faced with challenges, what coping strategies do you use? Is it reading, exercising, skipping meals, maybe eating more? Take a moment to reflect on the questions on the screen. What can I do more of or less of in my current self-care practices? What might you need to do a little more or a little less to make time for your self-care? We're going to be using the private chat feature, and our wonderful producer is pairing you up. Select the name of the person you've been paired with and share with them what you'll be doing more of or less of in order to enhance your self-care. An example might be to watch less TV so I could meditate more, because meditating more helps me to get in touch and how I'm really feeling. We'll let you know when 3 minutes are up. We hope you have a great virtual chat and be prepared to share your ideas with a larger group.
In the private chat, to find your partner, just click on the drop-down menu on the right-hand side where it says All Participants, and if you scroll down, you'll be able to see your partner, and then you can have a private chat that is truly private. Even the recording won't see it. So give me a green check when you found your private chat partner. Brittany's with Bailey and Aaron's with Jillian. You have 1 more minute. . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . you can just wrap up your private chat now and give us a green check when you're ready to share. Bailey, you're back. Good.
Bailey and Brittany, you're ready?
Aaron and Jillian, how's it going?
Okay. I think we're ready to share, Aaron and Jillian. Good. Awesome. Well, it really is time to share. So when I call your name, please state one thing you will do less of and one thing you'll do more of. So Bailey, can I call on you first? One thing you'll do more of and one thing you'll do less of.
Do you want me to say it or type it in?
You go ahead and say it, and our lovely producer will type it in.
Okay, so I said, let me just double check here. Okay, I need to go to bed earlier and make like, sleep a bigger priority. And I need to spend less time on social media.
Yes, it's a big one, isn't it?
Yes.
You're not alone in that, Bailey.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Brittany, can I call upon you?
Yes, less stress. I live a very stressful life. Less stress and more time with my 2 young girls.
So more time, making more time and not focusing on the stressors or the things that distract you from that?
Correct.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of pull on us each day to do many things, and the things that you want to do more of that gratify you are time with your 2 girls. That's a good place to be. Thank you, Brittany. How about you, Aaron? Can we call on you now? One thing you would need to do more of and one you need to do less of.
Aaron, if you like, or if your audio's not working great. Jillian is, oh, there we go.
There's Aaron. More exercise and eating better, and less eating bad. Oh, for sure, eh? We get drawn into all those quick foods. I think those things have a mark on my mood. They do. What you eat, what you put into your body does make a difference, for sure. So for you, it's focusing on better eating and getting exercise. And eating less of the things that are maybe not as healthy, and it will have improvement on your mood. Awesome. Somebody here loves chocolate. I think that's a food group, I think, apparently. Maybe not. I don't think so. Would like it to be. So some of the things you've identified, more things to do around getting out and exercising and rocking our lovely, lovely doggies and spending time in nature, visiting friends, getting sleep, more sleep, because we need sleep, don't we? Exercise and eating better, and time with the people that we love. And the things that we need to do less of is, decrease our self-talk, quit procrastinating, unplug, get out of social media and focus on the here and now. Sort of getting drawn into the foods that don't necessarily keep our mood feeling great. And then maybe just doing less things that are stressful, making more time for family. So you guys covered a lot. That's awesome. But also, too, when we think about unplugging from devices and social media, is that special hour before bed. The light from screens can disrupt our sleep patterns for sure. You definitely mentioned the more sleep, getting to bed earlier, getting up earlier so you can get more things done and making more time for you. Certainly putting good nutrients inside ourselves. We're talking about that, but maybe drinking more water. Certainly somebody has mentioned self-talk, so pay attention. What are you saying about yourself to yourself? And maybe it can be just on the here and now, not worrying ahead. A lot of you are already practicing mindfulness, so that's awesome. Slowing down and tuning into how you're doing. Maybe using humor or just having fun is a great way to having more time for you, just being silly and kid-like. Do something new. It's already been touched on about accepting help and spending time with pets. Yes, that is very, very important, to be with your puppies or kitties or whatever you love. So on your self-care journey, and as you chart new self-care coordinates, making new habits takes time and practice that involves doing more of some things and less of others. And thank you so much for all the great things that you shared here today. Remember, every positive change in your life begins with a clear, unequivocal decision that you are either going to do something or stop doing something. As individuals, we have several areas or dimensions of who we are, and this includes our emotional, physical, spiritual, professional, which can include raising a family, that could be your work, social, financial, and psychological areas. When you explore your self-care starter kit that we will be sending you, it will be important that you consider strategies for each area. You may already be doing a great job in the physical area, but you may need to strengthen the area of social needs. Or you may focus on your work area and exclude your emotional needs. It's all about balance. Having a range of strategies across all dimensions in your daily self-care practices and when you encounter emergencies will increase your likelihood of getting back to green. Take a moment to consider what you need in your everyday life versus what you need in the event of a crisis or a period of high stress. So take a minute just to think about what you might need in both of those times. So hopefully you've got an idea of what you might need in the regular everyday in a period of crisis. And I'm wondering if anyone is willing to share how they think self-care might look differently versus in a crisis. And at the bottom of the participants panel, find the hand button to click if you're willing to share. Anybody willing to share what they might do? Jillian, what you might do in a regular everyday versus a crisis situation? What would be the things that you would consider?
In a regular everyday, you can do more complicated things that you like to do. So things that require planning or that require greater amounts of time. But if it's a crisis situation, maybe it's only having one chocolate out of the box as opposed to making a pan of cookies, right? It's that one little piece that it's like, okay, that'll make it just for now. I'll cope. That's a good thing, and then I'll go deal with it. So anything that's quick, at the moment, and chocolate's always good. Right,
but you've already planned and thought about it ahead, right?
Yes. Yeah. Well, that's it. Well, even if you're in the grocery store and it's like, you've got no milk at home, or you've got 10 minutes to find something for supper, there's always a marshmallow heart or a marshmallow Easter egg, or some chocolate bar that you like, some small piece of something, right, that you can just.
So for you, it's almost like a self-soothing, having a little treat.
I think self-soothing is a very good way of putting it. Yes.
Right. All right, thanks, Jillian. So I see you probably have some good ideas that you're just holding on to, and that's okay. One thing for sure is when we're faced with a crisis or a period of high stress, you likely won't have time to create a coping strategy besides chocolate, right, Jillian? But taking time to develop a plan in advance so there's It's there when you need it can be very beneficial. Self-care plans help you to be more resilient and cope with life's ups and downs.
Remember at the beginning of the workshop, we referenced how to handle the 6 waves. There's an analogy called the 7th wave. It is said by people knowledgeable about the sea that every 7th wave is a really big wave, but the 6 waves before the 7th wave are smaller. It is in these 6 waves that we live most of our day-to-day life in daily occurrences and routines. Having a range of well-established self-care practices will help us along in the 6 waves of life, but it's absolutely essential when the 7th wave comes along. The 7th wave is the really big or unexpected events in life, both positive and negative, that can sometimes sweep us up or feel like we're being carried away. The 7th wave may be a deployment, a posting, or the loss of a loved one, an illness, or even those positive things like a wedding, moving, graduation. Positive experiences can indeed be just as stress-provoking. So the analogy of the 7th wave is an important reason why we need to enhance our self-care. If you learn to handle the ebbs and flows of the 6 waves of life, you'll be better equipped for that 7th wave. So we've made a pretty good case for self-care, but we realize that there are challenges to navigate in order to practice self-care. We would all be self-care experts if it was so easy. So let's explore what some of those barriers might be. So on the screen are some of the reasons why we may find taking care of ourselves to be a challenge. I feel guilty, I feel selfish, I'm too busy, maybe it's not a priority, it's not something that I learned in my own family, others often come first. I would do more self-care, but I can't afford to go to the spa every week. So if any of these barriers speak to you, use your pointer tool in the top left hand that was used before, the large arrow on the top left side, and let us know which of these might speak to you. Elizabeth, do I see you in the busy? Yes.
Yep.
Bailey, others come first. Yes, and I've heard young children, so that often feeling guilty when you're trying to negotiate all the time that you have. I'm too busy. It's not a priority. So these are really common ones that you can see speak, and I saw some move around, so they definitely speak to you. Excellent. So self-care is provided by you, for you, and it is about identifying your own needs and taking steps to meet them. It's not selfish, even though that's how it feels sometimes, but it is taking personal responsibility for one's physical, mental, emotional, intellectual, and spiritual health, and an important part of well-being. We tend to focus our energies into the maintenance and good working order of others instead of ourselves. This can be especially true for women, where we are socialized to be the caregivers for everyone. And this tendency can be one of the biggest challenges. Being able to recognize your challenges to self-care is an important first step. You cannot develop an effective self-care plan if you don't look for the hazards or buoys, barriers that might exist. For most of us, if we do not take care of ourselves, no one else will. So self-care is anything but selfish, but a way of getting to the green. So let's do a lightning round. So take a few moments to think of some of the things you can do right now to navigate or manage the barriers that could impact you in creating an effective self-care plan. So using the chat function, please select everyone from the drop-down menu and share some of your ideas to manage those barriers. So an example might be, a barrier could be not asking for help. So I think we talked about that a little bit earlier. So sometimes it can be really difficult to reach out and ask for someone. So that's the barrier. So maybe a way around of that is actually thinking about who can you identify that you would feel comfortable approaching for help. So what we'd like you to do is to take a look at that chat box and again, click everyone and start clicking some of your ideas of how you might be able to manage some of the barriers to self-care. What are some of the things you can do right now?
So if I feel selfish to self-care, how would I fix that?
Okay, so some are coming through, ask for help, talk to others. Turn to those who are closest to us. Absolutely. Schedule time for it. We've talked about lists, so making a list. Essential oils. Sorry, was that you, Elizabeth?
I was just saying I love the me list.
Yes. I know, I think I like that better than a self-care plan. It's the me, it's the me plan.
I'm just going to call it me.
This one speaks to me from Jillian. If I'm too busy for self-care, I need to evaluate what I might need to drop.
Yes.
Absolutely.
It's
The
okay
scheduling in of time. Yeah, absolutely. I like these ideas. So setting the stage for change can be challenging, but changing things in our environment that we do have control over is a great start. So working on reducing and then eliminating negative coping strategies is part of that plan. Sometimes a little change can go a long way. I guess that's the challenge we're putting forward as we go through some of this material tonight, is to be able to think about what are the small things that you can start doing. Because I know everybody mentioned different things about eating better and sleep, so some of those things we really know, so how do we work on them and to make some of those changes real? Excellent.
You know, can I add one more point?
Absolutely.
Bailey had a really great point. She said not asking for help, and what it reminded me, turn to those who are closest to me, who I know will listen if needed, and I know would offer to help without me even asking. You know, as human beings, sometimes we really like to be asked, and sometimes we don't know how to help, but if somebody says, can you do this for me, people will absolutely do it for you. So your support networks, you have to remember that when you're asking for them to do something, you're actually making them feel empowered as well. So it's not a bad thing to ask for help, because human beings need that.
Absolutely.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I think you're right, Margaret. I think the thing is we assume that because there is an idea in the culture that we have to be independent and we have to do everything on our own, when really everyone needs help. Absolutely everyone. There's not going to be a time in your life when you don't need it. And just finding your voice to, you know, just claim it. I need help. There.
I think the interesting thing is we often have plans. It's you know, emergency child care plans, and we have what if this, you know, what happens, these are the people that can help my children. So what is that list for us? What is our emergency contact list? But it's really beyond in terms of injury, but really more about who are those people, and letting people know that they're on the list. And I think that's kind of a neat way to have some conversation with those that are close to us that we trust to be able to do that. So yeah, great. We've looked at some of the important aspects of a self-care plan, and it can be simple or as complex as you need it to be. One thing that does help to solidify it is to write it down. So the toolkit we'll be sending you has some ideas on how you might organize your plan. An example is on the screen. So this plan helps you to think about your daily plan as well as the emergency self-care plan we spoke of earlier. And the visual reminder can help gently guide yourself back to your plan and positive coping strategies. So it's intriguing. I was thinking of this more for an activity even in my family for each of us to do, and having it on the fridge even of each of ours, so that we also are more mindful of the things that are important to each other and understanding of what those are. So there's the different categories, so you can challenge yourself if you want to do that. So looking at some of the things that we talked about in terms of eating regular meals, that type of thing. So things that we definitely know, but sometimes being able to take a look at those can remind us of that. And so I was looking at a self-care practitioner, and she was talking about where she does her mindfulness, and she has a picture of a child who's giving a big shh to be quiet, and she has that picture there to remind herself to shut her brain off, that sometimes she just needs to be able to be that direct and that with herself. So she says, yes, I have nice pictures like the ocean and other things in front of me, but she needs that little shh sign in front of her to remind herself to shut her brain down. So again, the written idea of putting those things down, but also being able to take a look at it. So that might be something you share with the others in your life, or maybe that's something that you carry with you as a card in your wallet or somewhere to remind you of those things that you need to be able to take care of yourself. I really liked the positive coping strategies. Sometimes when we're in darker places, we forget some of those positive coping strategies. So that going back to the list, I am a list person too, so I can appreciate, Jillian, the list idea, and really going back to those things that are helpful. And thinking about it again in terms of the things that are doable for every day, and then those things that are so, so important when things are really kind of gone off kilter, and so that emergency self-care plan. And to remember those things that you find yourself doing. So I put, for instance, the couch. So sometimes when we have a lot of stress going on, we revert to certain activities, or less activity in my case. So it's remembering those things that we have to do to keep going forward. So that's just an example. There's no right or wrong to it, but that you'll be able to take a look and see if some of those might work for you. Has anybody written down any of their ideas for self-care plan before? Have any experience doing that? Maybe give me a green check if anybody's had the experience of actually writing a plan down. Yeah, this is a challenge for me after doing this workshop for the second time. I do think I'm going to write the plan down. So it's in my head, but I think having the written plan is going to will make a little bit of a difference. So a reminder that change takes time, to be gentle and compassionate with yourself as you navigate ahead on your self-care journey. And remember that you don't have to go it alone. So military families are fortunate to have a broad network of resources and supports available to them. So some of the resources are on the screen. So part of planning ahead includes knowing where to look for resources. So it might be helpful to think of your resources as being in 3 categories. So personal resources, such as family and friends, neighbors, your personal strengths, resiliency, and experiences. And part of those personal resources, I think, is also having people that hold us accountable and that help us to gently guide ourselves back to the things, our positive coping strategies. So that can be really useful to have those people in our life. The social support, so perhaps that might be ministers or spiritual advisors, coaches, teachers, mentors. And then the community resources, including doctors, mental health professionals, community centers, the Military Family Resource Center, the Family Information Line, so those are things that are available to military families, the Canadian Forces Members Assistance Program, and other military families. So oftentimes for families that come to a new area, the MFRC might be one of the first places that you're able to build some of these resources. What would you add to this list? So maybe in the chat box, you can let us know what other resources you might have or suggest that are available or that you have used in the past. What are your go-to resources? So your self-care plan, neighbors, definitely neighbors are a big part of that. Support. What other resources do you pull on? Retired military members, those that have lived a life, absolutely. Community resource centers, reaching out to other people in the community, excellent. I think social media, as much as it can also be, can have, yes, challenges to it, also can be a huge resource to meet other people that are going through similar things or to have that support, so it has that as well. Social media to reach out with other Canadian military spouses.
Yes.
Yeah. So sometimes it's about stopping and actually creating the list of other people as well that part of that resource list. So if you or someone you care about is finding it difficult to get back to the green, so we just encourage you to seek help, and often people wait too long to reach out for support if they find themselves stuck in the yellow or orange zone. And so don't let that 7th wave take over. So Elizabeth and her mental health and well-being team are some of those people that are part of those resources as well at the MFRC that are able to speak with people over the phone or in person to be able to even talk about a self-care plan and work through some of those steps along the way. So take advantage of some of those things. So before we finish, we're going to try a couple of self-care strategies.
Thanks for saying that, Kara. That is part of my role, and I really like the idea too about sharing your self-care or my me list plan, whichever, with family and friends, because when they know what you're trying to achieve, they will probably support you when they see what you're trying to do. And it's one way of asking for help in some ways, right? Indirectly. So it is time to practice some self-care right now. Get comfortable, everyone. We're going to practice a breathing technique. You've been working very hard and you deserve it. Please take a moment and try and reduce distractions to fully benefit from this technique. Make sure that your microphone is muted. Now look in the chat box to find a YouTube link and click on it. The link will take you to an ocean video. Close out any ads that may pop up and get comfy. Hopefully everyone has the YouTube video with that beautiful palm tree and the waves coming into shore. We're going to do an activity called Ujjayi, or ocean breath, and is one of the yoga breathing techniques. Ocean breath can calm you and bring awareness to the present moment through your mind, body, and spirit. If you have respiratory conditions like asthma or emphysema, do not try without talking to your doctor first. As with all deep breathing techniques, you may experience a bit of dizziness. If you do get dizzy, just breathe regularly at your normal pace and depth. We tend not to breathe deeply, so go slowly as this does take practice. Let's begin by sitting upright in your chair, feet planted on the floor, your arms placed comfortably on your thighs or on the armrests of your chair. Let your shoulders relax. Don't hold them tight up to your ears. Everyone settled in? Take a few breaths, inhaling through your nose and exhaling through your mouth. On your next breath, as you inhale, imagine all that air reaching deep into your lungs. Then exhale through your mouth. But as you breathe out, make a slight sound. Do this 2 more times. In through your nose and out through your mouth with a slight sound. Now I want you to inhale through your nose, but this time exhale through your nose with your mouth closed. Inhale through your nose, then exhale through the nose. Again, inhale through the nose and exhale through the nose. This time, inhale through your nose, and when you exhale through your nose, try to make the sound as you breathe out with your mouth closed. That is an ocean breath. Try a couple more ocean breaths. In through your nose and exhale through your nose with your mouth closed, and make the ah sound. Your breathing now sounds like the ocean. Now return to your normal breathing pattern. As you exhale this time, imagine your breath pulling in the ocean air, breathing in freshness and exhaling all the impurities in your body, your negative thoughts and emotions, breathing in peace and exhaling the concern and worries for those things that are not about you in this moment. Use your breath to inhale good things and exhale what you don't want to carry. Listen to the waves of the sea coming onto shore. Feel the rhythm of your breath match the rhythm of the waves. Now I want you to return back to this moment, breathing normally, and take notice of the sensations in your body. Notice any thoughts that come to mind, any emotions you may feel. Just notice. Remember, even when you think you do not have time for self-care, you know you can always breathe to calm yourself until you do have a little more time. It's time to come back to the classroom. Please close out of the YouTube video and click on the green and blue ball at the bottom of your screen to return to the classroom. Please give me a green check when you're back. Brittany and Bailey's back. Aaron. I'm just waiting for Jillian. Can you give us a green check, Jillian? Jillian's trying to find the ball. It's a green and blue ball at the bottom of the screen on your tab that goes across your computer.
Tara, can you please unmute Jillian?
Can you hear me? Okay, when I clicked on the YouTube, I think it was too much for the internet. And so I've lost the bottom, a piece of the bottom is gone on the screen, and where the participants were all listed, that's missing, so that I can't, like, the little thing with the hands and all of those have vanished.
Okay. Do you see the word participants, Jillian?
Yes. Yes, I tried that. I tried clicking on that, but I didn't seem to.
There's a little triangle to the left of the word participants. Check on, maybe you can try on that.
Okay. I did. Worked. Perfect. Thank you.
Awesome. You're welcome.
Great.
Screen check.
Awesome. We're all back. So how's everyone doing now? I hope everyone's still breathing. On the right side of your screen, you'll find emoticons or emojis, the little drop-down menu. And we'd like you to select the best emoticon or emoji that describes how you're feeling right now. Bailey's a little sleepy. Ready for bed. Jillian's got a smiley face. Oh, Erin is in the same state. And Brittany.
She sent one in the chat.
I got a square box. That's what I see. And what does Brittany say in the chat?
I think it's the emoticon, so it's coming through in the iPad. I imagine she picked one there. It just translates into a box into WebEx.
Okay. I think you're not
We're using our
squaring.
imagination.
That's right. Yeah. All right. Excellent. Anybody willing to share whether you're currently using breathing techniques? All you have to do is raise your hand if you are. Just press the hand icon if you're willing to share. Well, we've introduced you to ocean breath. Hopefully you will sleep better tonight now that you've exhaled some of the stress of the day, and I can see by the emoticons that they are. So thank you, everyone.
So now that we have you in a relaxed state, as a closing exercise, we'd like you to take a minute and think about one positive quality about you. So think about what that might be. Using your pointer located in the top left hand of your screen, claim a box, find your text tool, and write your positive quality beside your name on the whiteboard. Moments to write it down. Margaret's going to put yours up on there, Brittany, so we can see it from the chat box. And using the text tool, you just click away so everybody else can see what you've written. So once you've written it, you just click away and then others can see. One positive quality about you. Bailey, he's got unconditional love. What a fantastic one. Aaron, helpful to others, similar. We have very giving people tonight. Resilience, I love that one, Brittany. That's a great one. Elizabeth has humor. That is one that I would probably put on my list as well. Jillian, are you able to share the one positive quality about, there's many more than one, but one that you want to share with us? A good listener. Excellent. Thanks. So hopefully that wasn't too challenging at this time of night. So recognizing a positive quality, also known as positive self-talk, can be influenced by whether or not you have made it a practice of appreciating things about yourself. That is something you can do when you're having your morning coffee or tea just before the day really gets started. You can focus on you. So now we did share our positive qualities. It was really great to hear some of those and see those qualities about you. Self-talk is a great way to generate positive emotions and reduce stress by helping us to stay calm, highlighting our strengths, and affirming what we are capable of doing. After the workshop, remember that one positive quality you shared today and repeat it several times and in the days ahead. The goal will be to add more fabulous qualities and really celebrate who you are. So a final thought as we wrap up this self-care journey. Is someone willing to read this Oprah quote we have on the slide? If you're willing, can you raise your hand? Anybody want to channel Oprah this evening? Elizabeth, this is one of your favorites. Oh, great, Brittany, you're really great. Channel your Oprah. What do we got?
What I know for sure is this: you are built not to shrink down to less, but to blossom into more, to be more splendid, to be more extraordinary, to use every moment to fill yourself up.
Yes.
Thank you. Elizabeth, this is one of your favorites, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it just speaks to my heart every time I hear it. It's nice to hear someone else read it, too.
Thanks, Brittany. Well, we've sailed through an hour very quickly, and I'm mindful of our time, so thank you for staying with us. We've really enjoyed spending this time with you as we explored areas of self-care like mindfulness and the mental health continuum. We were able to explore what self-care means to each of you and share our definition. We took a look at what we want to stop doing and things we want to start or continue doing. We discussed resiliency and how we handle the daily self-care and how important self-care is when life brings us that seventh wave. We identified what barriers exist for us in practicing self-care and thought about some of the ways that we might be able to manage them. We explored possible resources and some self-care ideas for mapping out your own self-care plan. And then we finished with a breathing practice and practice some positive self-talk. So we're going to email some of these great resources and tools for you this week. For those who might prefer a paper copy of the tool and links, just let us know and we can send them surface mail, absolutely. Your package will include a template called your Self-Care Starter Kit that you can continue to develop and revisit as you journey through life. There will be links to mindfulness and PDFs of mindfulness strategies for adults and children. And included will be a link for free mindfulness drop-ins held in the HRM. And I think what you did tonight, a couple of you that, for instance, in Fredericton or Newfoundland, you challenged us as well as for us to add to our repertoire of resources and be able to research some of those areas as well so we can share them with families. So thank you for that reminder, really important for us. So as we finish up the session, please grab your text tool and write down a question or a comment you have about today's session on the whiteboard. So we'll give you about 30 seconds to think about that as we close out. So we're at the end. If you have a comment to make about tonight's session or any questions for us as we finish off.
I mean, what do you mean by can I snail mail companies sent to me?
Can she get snail mail to copies to her maybe?
Oh, copies.
Yes.
Great.
Absolutely, Brittany. If you want to give me a reply to my email that I sent out today with your address, no problem. I know the spell check on the text tool doesn't work for me either. It doesn't exist, unfortunately. It's just like, yeah, it's like when you're doing flip charts. There's no ability to spell check.
So Erin and Jillian, did you want to take your pointer and grab a spot on, or you can use a chat? Self-reflect, yes. Absolutely. Bailey too, I don't know if you've written. We really hope that we'll see you at other virtual workshops as well, since this was your first time joining. That's great.
Yay.
So thank you everyone for a great evening. Thank you for sharing. And so we've tried to make sure that it was interactive so that you're able to participate as well. And absolutely, it was an hour that you got to think about you. So thank you for taking the time to be able to do that, because I know everybody has very busy lives. So you did take that time. So yay. If you have any questions, by all means, contact Elizabeth or I. Our emails are there. And you can also call the MFRC, the main number, the 902-427-7788. And they will also connect to us if you have any questions that way. No problem. Okay, so as you exit today's session, please take a few minutes to fill out the evaluation so we can keep improving on this experience for families. So if you have any questions or want to get a hold of us after session emails, you can let us know. So making yourself a priority is key. As we said at the beginning, self-care is a lifelong process that involves a lot of trial and error, such as life. So we wish you fair winds and following seas. Thanks everyone for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you again in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Yay. So to exit out, you click on the red X, and then the evaluation will pop up after you exit out. The red X is on the top right-hand side of your screen. Thank you so much, guys, for coming out. We look forward to seeing you at other sessions. Oh, can I do a plug before everybody goes?
Sure. If anybody's still there.
On March 27th, we're having a workshop with Strongest Families.
Ah.
Maybe we can put this in the after-session email.
Yeah, I can put that in the after-session email. Yeah, no problem.
And also about and we'll also give you
Monica.
the link as well, and also about Monica.
Yes, absolutely.
Great. Okay. Good night. I'll stay on.
Okay. Okay.
Ah.
You want to
Wow.
stop the recording?
Stop the recording. Okay, absolutely. Watch me go. There we go. Stop.
Watch you go. You're awesome.
Stop recording. Are you sure you want to stop? Yes, I'm sure.